All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:30. I'd like to welcome all the guests. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Dennis. Second by Lori. Further discussion? All in favor, right hand. 6-0. Open forum. No one signed up. We'll move on to the approval of the consent agenda, which is approval of the regular open session minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Dennis.
I'll second.
Second, Naomi. Further discussion? All in favor? 6-0. Approval and transfer and payment of bills. Did you have any questions?
Motion to approve the transfer and payment of bills.
We have a motion by Lori.
I'll second.
Second by Dennis. Further discussion? All in favor, right hand. 6-0. Reports, elementary.
Mrs. Kingsley, as you know, is not here. You do have her report in your board folder.
Good evening, I'm here on official business. I'm not part of the meeting. I'm serving the board a copy for subpoena. I don't need anything else. Thank you.
Thanks.
So you have Mrs. Kingsley's board report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those, or I know she would also be happy to get back with you when she returns tomorrow. Her enrollment does continue to go up. We're at 302 right now.
Okay, we'll move on to 6.2, middle school, high school. Mr. Bible.
Okay, enrollment stayed the same all the way across. We're the same virtual as well, Ty.
Okay, before I ask.
Discipline, we had 19 referrals between middle of February into last Wednesday. The specifics are on the report. We do have esports up and going. This is a club that Mr. Medley wanted to throw together, something to get those students that are involved in that kind of thing, to get them involved in another school activity. This is a club that's up. It's going. Right now we have League of Legends and Rocket League team. I could not explain to you how the game looks or what the game looks like, but the kids really enjoy it. I've sat there and tried to watch them a couple times, and they are way beyond me. I will say that. So they are playing right now through playbs.com. And then March 2nd, they play League of Legends on Tuesday nights, and Rocket League is played on Thursday nights. Their season is going to continue through April 15th. If they're top 64 teams, they'll advance further on into like a playoffs type setting. like what a sports team would do.
This is for high school or?
This is high school students. Right now, League of Legends has a record of 1-1, and then Rocket League is 2-0. We do have a student in Rocket League, I believe. He was 70th in the world, not in the States or anything like that, in the world. 70th in the world at one point in time. The young man's actually starting to be recruited a little bit for college scholarships.
What, I mean, like, what are they playing? Like, is it a
Computer
They're
games.
video- they're
If it's a
Computer
game,
game.
it's a
Computer video
computer
games.
game, but
They're
like,
computer games.
but is it like asteroids or is it like football? I don't.
Rocket League is like a soccer game. It's
Soccer,
like a
it's a
soccer game with cars or something.
I only know this because like two of Austin's
That's the
friends
best way to
play it.
explain it. The Rocket League is like soccer game or soccer with cars.
Oh, okay.
They have different
That's what I
goals-
was
goals and
wondering. What are the,
There's no, I know esports itself has your traditional type games as well.
I was just wondering what, you know, like.
They're playing other schools, so it's really, actually, they play other schools from different countries too.
That's kind of cool.
So it's really neat. They played last Thursday, they played school out in Minnesota. So it's all over the place.
Last year they had an esports tournament Columbia College put on. They had Division I schools there, University of Michigan, Ohio State.
It's becoming something really
Yeah, it's
popular
pretty-
in, college level, for scholarships out there for these students to go out and get things like that. So, something that's really cool what's going on over there right now with Mr. Bentley. We did have Digital Learning Day on the 25th. Miss Kelly's class participated in that, and there are 8th grade classes that participated in that. The other classes are their digital learning classes with her throughout the entire day. Lynn Middle School will be participating in the Council for Drug-Free Youth Program. The data I have on here is not correct. So tomorrow team is going to come, or tomorrow Coke is going to come in with us. And then next week, Team Kid will come in with us. Okay. Normally that's something we do down at Community Christian Church. Trying to leave everybody on campus, still trying to follow the COVID protocols and that kind of stuff. So we've got it arranged for all that to be on campus. Okay. March 11th, seniors participate in the workforce prep presentation. March 3rd and 17th, Ms. Stegner and Ms. Kelly took the yearbook classes to Jefferson City. So yearbook ads, that went really well, especially for being so late. Normally that's something that we do in October, November, but that went really well, especially sending 2 sponsors over there, get the students spread out a little bit and get into some more businesses. End of the year events, there's lots of different events coming up. NJHS is tomorrow night, the induction will be tomorrow night in the field house. We normally do that in Commons. We're going to move those smaller things or smaller capacity people events over to the field house so we can spread it out a little bit more there. And then the rest of our end of the year activities are also listed on there as well. State testing is going to begin on April 20th and run through May 11th with Make a Day on May 12th, Friday, May 12th. For map testing and things like that specifically. The rest of the events are on there as well. Athletics, spring sports. Baseball kicked off their season on Saturday and split the day. There's currently 19 players. With that, they're rained out tonight. They'll be in the third game tonight. Track and field, junior high kicked it off last night with the regular season. There's 10 out for junior high. And then high school tonight is over at Russellville. There's 21 students out participating in that. Golf, there's 14 athletes, and their first match is next week. That's Tuesday, I believe. Winter sports, just go over how they finished up real quick. The boys finished at 16-8. They lost to the state runner-up Monroe by 4 in the sectional game here on March 2nd. And the girls ended up finishing at 13-10, lost the fourth place finisher in the district championship, tipping up fourth this year in the state tournament. Junior high volleyball record. Just heard that they won their first game tonight. They lost. 7th grade. 7th grade lost their first game tonight. 8th grade, the 18th, is currently 2-2. They're playing tonight at Union. Going back into the district basketball, I'm kind of going back here real quick. It's the first time since 1985 that both the boys and the girls team have made it to a district championship. So that's something that's pretty rare and unique. And then the all-district team, Ashara, Hostetler, and Lindsey Brown were both named to the all-district team. Caleb Lawson was actually named all-district MVP. And then Ella Peters was also named to the all-district team. Any questions? Clay was named, and he's modest. He would want me to say this, but Clay was named the district coach.
All right, thank you. Superintendent report.
So again, some of my things are repetitive from what the principals have. At the top, you have a lot of the upcoming dates. MAP, EOC is just around the corner. ACT for juniors is next week, and the majority of our juniors are taking that test next week. We did have kindergarten screening. Right now, we've screened around 34 students. Of course, we usually gain a few in the fall, so something probably between 35 and 40 kids in that incoming kindergarten class. We did have parent-teacher conferences last night. I think the attendance was probably so-so, but that's not unusual for the spring conference. Again, we had kindergarten roundup on March 4th, and Emma was instrumental in that, as was Mrs. Kingsley. And we had FFA community breakfast on February 22nd, and our Lynn FFA contest was on March 8th, and that went very well this year as well. The only contest we did not hold on FFA contest day was dairy foods, not as well as tasting and drinking, and so we felt like that probably wasn't in anyone's best interest at this point. Mr. Feibel and Mrs. Kingsley, of course, had several applicants for open positions, and they have those recommendations tonight. My goal going forward, and we'll discuss this again when we talk about the preliminary budget, but I hope to be able to put about $300 on the basic in this year, as well as allowing step increases. We did have our food service management company walkthrough on March 16th. OPA and Fresh Ideas both were here, and they both do plan on submitting a bid. Steve has completed the lighting project in the locker rooms, so not only is it brighter, but they're more up to date. So Eric has ordered additional access points to help with connectivity. We should recoup about 75% of that, but that doesn't come until next year through E-rate funding. I think those are going to go in the elementary.
Mostly high school and junior high, and so it's pretty even spread.
Okay. So, I forgot what I said now. This custodial staff did have a deep cleaning day on March 15th, and then April 19th is the day that has been scheduled for the architect to come in and inspect the building. So we'll know a little bit more about that after.
All right. Thank you. We'll move on to discussion action items. 7.1, approve the 2021-2022 certified staff salary schedule and step increases.
So in your packet, you have the current salary schedule, and again, we don't typically do raises on the base until May, June, so we know a little bit more of what the budget is going to look like overall. So at this point, it's basically just approving the salary schedule as is, but we are recommending that we allow staff to get their steps for years experience as well as hours of education. So they would be able to move over for years or for hours of education and move down for years of experience. The cost of the step increases based on what people have told us in terms of what education they should have by September 1st of next year, and allowing everyone to have their steps, the cost to the district would be approximately $49,000 to allow them to have their step increases. And we need to approve that so that we can do contracts.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2021-22 certified staff salary schedule and step increases.
Motion to approve the 2021 certified staff salaries.
We have a motion by Lori,
I'll second.
second by Naomi. Further discussion? All in favor, right hand. 6-0. Approve the summer school proposal, 7.2.
Want to take this one?
Sure, we've been kind of catching up at some school and seeing what that was gonna look like. One of the biggest points of feedback that I got last year was just, was kind of a, we hadn't been in school, we tried to run summer school, things went great, but there wasn't a lot of time for soliciting input from the teachers about how to look or what kind of classes would you like to offer. So I've done that and gathered their input. According to what they have shared with me, they'd like to run it just the same as the regular school year, so to go that Tuesday through Friday instead of going the 5-day week. And we don't have to have as many hours for summer school, so we could do an 8 to 3. It would be the longer school day. So that'd be kind of nice in the summer to be able to get out of school and go enjoy some fun. So I'm proposing they would run the 25th of May through the 25th of June. That also kind of gives us bookkeeping in. That gives us a quick chance to wrap up the fiscal year before the 30th of June and get all of those things tidied up. We'll be doing an enrollment drive the month of April. And so I have made arrangements to go down to St. George and pass out enrollment forms there, as we know that the district welcomes all students to our summer school program. So we also are hoping to, and I'm pretty sure last time I checked, we have more than enough students who would like to take the personal finance credit. And so Ms. Stegman has graciously offered to teach that this summer. And so our kids will be able to get that, at least that half credit of personal finance taken care of in the summertime. We have quite a few students who are interested in kind of piggybacking that with their A+. So they may come and do A+ hours with us in the morning and then go over and do personal finance class in the afternoon, and then same vice versa. So we can actually flip that, 4 times because we have the A+ hours to give. So we appreciate their help for summer school. It's definitely great to have them here for that as well. We would like to try to offer a credit recovery for math. We have plenty of kids who are needing to recover that credit, not maybe as many as willing to come in and spend their summertime trying to work on that. So if we have the numbers, Ms. Linkman has also offered to teach that class. Lynn Lions Club, we've already been in contact with them. We're going to try to run swim lessons during summer school for the summer school kids. So that date and time needs to be determined because they're kind of used to running a 5-day week on the summer for a swim lesson. And so we're only going to be going forward. We're going to have to kind of figure out a little bit how that's going to look. So the proposed dates there, the 25th to the 25th, no Mondays. Any questions?
And we'll still allow other school districts to attend if
Yep, correct. I think we already have our little 34 kindergartners that were expected to come in. Well over half of them have already expressed interest and have turned their enrollment paper in for summer school. So they're anxious to get that first look at school. So.
I'll make a motion to approve the summer school proposal.
we have a motion by Dennis.
Second.
Second by Ty. Further discussion? All in favor, right hand. 6-0. Approve the 2021 budget amendment.
So you do have the actual budget amendment, or the amended budget in your packet. The primary changes on those, again, just updating that local, county, and state revenue to reflect current projections. Pull that up. And And then one of the things as well is throughout our meetings with Jesse, one of the things that they have consistently advised us is to take our CARES Act money and use it to offset salaries, thus freeing up other money to use on the projects that we would like to use it on. And the reason they've advised us to do that is because then you don't have to worry about whether or not a particular project meets the guidelines under the CARES Act, because salaries do meet the guidelines, so you can use that on salaries, and then free up money to use on whatever projects it is that you want to do. So what I've done in this budget is put about half of our ESSER2 money in Fund 2 to offset teacher salaries. That then allows us to take our classroom trust fund money and put it into Fund 4. Classroom trust money, you can put in any fund. It doesn't matter what fund you put it in, you can put it in any fund. By putting it in Fund 4, we should, between what we have at the end of this year and what we will put in Fund 4 next year, we should have enough money in Fund 4 next year then to be able to fix the high school roof and hopefully fix the track. So unless something comes back from the architect that shows that we have a much bigger need than what those two are, by next year, the hope is that we would have enough in Fund 4 to be able to fix those things. I've also done just some CARES Act cleanup for St. George, for example. We do run some of their CARES Act money through us, so just putting their revenue and expenditures in the budget and amending just the overall CARES Act revenue. Again, that ESSER2 money came in, and I told you how I was going to divide that with the Department of Health and Human Services is who we're doing our food service through this year, because we're all getting free lunches, all the kids. So just amending that revenue amount. We also had some support staff changes within the year. So for example, we had a cook who moved to an aide position, and then we had an aide who left. So I also just cleaned up that to make it more accurate as far as what's in the budget at this point. Again, some more CARES Act cleanup. We already talked about that. Also just amending some budget expenditures to what were likely to be more accurate. And I gave an example. We had $10,000 budgeted in special ed contracted evaluations and therapies. Well, we're not going to use that. So I made that zero. Just trying to get a little more accurate as we go throughout the year. So then when it comes time for that final budget to be adopted in June, we have a much better idea of where we are. We did end up this year paying more in local tax effort than what we had budgeted originally. And if you all will remember, that is money that we have to pay if we have a student who is placed by like Division of Family Services or foster care, and they are placed in another district, but their parents live in our district. We have to pay our taxes, the local tax effort. We had about $9,000 budgeted there, and it ended up that we paid about $13,000, almost $13,400. So I had to amend that as well. And then just cleaning up some overall coding errors. So overall, just honing in and getting more and more accurate as the end of the year and the end of the fiscal year approaches.
I'll entertain a motion for the budget amendment.
I'll motion to approve the 2021 budget.
Motion by Lori,
I'll second.
second by Dennis. Further discussion? All in favor, right hand. 6-0. Discuss the 21-22 preliminary budget.
So this actually doesn't require any action. I'm just kind of showing you where I am in the budget development process right now. As revenues continue to come in and projections continue to come in for next year, this will become even more precise. I did sit in on a budget workshop, March 10th, I believe it was. And, you know, budget projections are much better than they thought they would be at this point in the school year and on into next year. So the hope is, of course, that economic recovery is going to continue. One thing that I wanted to point out to you, okay, it's at the bottom, I'll show you that in just a minute. So right now, this preliminary budget does include putting $300 on the base. It includes the insurance increases. It includes the steps for support staff and certified staff. It includes admin raises. It includes re-adding that assistant principal AD position. So I put all that in there because I want to make sure that in the end, we can support that and afford that. And so this is just, again, just preliminary. It's nowhere near finalized, but I wanted you guys to be able to see where we were in the process and start, you know, if you have questions or anything, we can start working through some of those before the budget is adopted in June. But the one thing I did want to point out, this document's, of course, pretty long. Is okay, so what I hope to be able to spend out of Fund 4 next year is about $461,318. And the reason that we're able to do that, again, is by moving some money into Fund 4, because we're going to offset that with the CARES Act money. So we should start the year next year with about $450,000 in Fund 4, and then we have revenue set to go into Fund 4 next year as well. So we should be able to fund all of those projects out of Fund 4 next year and make a dent in what our facilities sold. But if you ever have any questions or want me to go through something, don't hesitate to give me a call.
Do we see a version at some point that shows FY21 next to FY22?
You mean like revenue comparison side by side?
Yeah, so a column that says FY21 and then your FY22 total next to one another so we can compare one year to the next.
That's not something that's been provided in the past, but if that's something that you would like me to put together, I can certainly do that.
This would be a lot easier to read if you could see which direction we were going up or down with the budget.
Okay, I can definitely do that. Again, that doesn't require any action. That's just for your information.
Have they given you any hints as to what the Rescue America Act will provide?
Well, it depends on who you listen to. The last projection that I heard was that right now they're anticipating that we would get about 2% more than we got on this last one, 2 to 2.5. That was on March 10th. Now that could have changed between then and now. But on March 10th, when we had our budget meeting, that's what they told us for the estimate at that time.
I'm kind of disappointed.
And like I said, that may have changed since then.
All right, we'll move on to announcements. I have a plaque for Mark, but he's not here, so you just want a picture of me holding Mark's plaque? or-
No, we'll try to do that.
All right.
Yes.
We can Photoshop him in.
Photoshop them in later.
Yeah,
We'll just pass on that.
all right. Next regular meeting will be April 20th, 2021. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session.
I make a motion to adjourn the closed session in accordance with Missouri Revised Statute 610.021, sections 1 legal, 3 personnel, 13 personnel records, and 06 student.
All right, we have a motion by Dennis,
Second.
second by Ty. Further discussion? Roll call, Sean?
Yes.
Yes for me, Ty,
Yes.
Naomi,
Yes.
Lori, and Dennis.
Yes.
6-0. Meeting is adjourned at 7 o'clock.